See what I do this on my nose itching.
Yeah.
Always itches.
Hey, welcome to X's and O's. I'm Jeff Harrison, one of your hosts, but I'm here with the amazing, fantastic, super colossal Leslie Spoor.
Hi.
Welcome, Leslie.
Hi.
So you've had a busy day.
I have had a busy day.
Yeah, so you're out doing the typical things that a business owner would do, only times three, because you're a three business owner. It's like
That's right.
employees, dealing with trying to get staffing.
Boy, that's a tough one. We have to talk about that one day.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the tips and tricks of hiring the ideal staff yet today, but we've got some things we want to talk about today. Why don't you introduce, because it's kind of a tongue twister for me. A kid from West Texas, it's a little twisty for me.
We want to talk about analysis paralysis today.
See, I told you.
That's not that hard. Say it fast 3 times.
Now you're going to do it. I'm the O, just simple stuff, no X's. So what is it? What does that mean when we talk about from the stance of being an entrepreneur? Before we get started, let's talk about, for those people who just joined us, what exactly is the reason someone would come to this live program or watch it later? Why would they do that, Leslie? What's the reason behind it? What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to get information out to other small business owners so that you guys don't have to stumble and fall as you try to build your companies. Hopefully you can learn from my experience and find a way to be more efficient in your own business.
Yeah, and I'm going to hit you right on that from the standpoint of, like, every day there are people out there that they tout themselves as the gurus, and I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying many of these people have made their success years and sometimes decades ago, and they're selling their knowledge that was really relevant then. The big difference between Leslie or even myself is the fact that when we're talking about something, we're in that same trench right now.
Right now.
So it's like, hey, you know what? It might be working through it, and this is what's happening, right? So the other thing I want to talk about before I let you go is this: you said something today, and this is, I think, one of the most beneficial pieces. If you don't have a mentor or a coach and you're out there doing this on your own, oh my gosh. My business partner, Amy Anderson, and I over there, we've had business coaches now. We've been in business for 5 years, and 2 of those 5 years we've had business coaches. And I had to say, even Leslie, because she was one of our clients, and when we did, I don't know, like 30 videos for her, that was like a business coaching session, and we got paid for it. That was really cool.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, so
Just kidding.
So my point is, today, Leslie told me a little story about a client she's working with. Can you share that story? Just kind of a 30,000-foot view of that lady who said, hey, I got this software, but now...
Oh, okay.
Because you helped her.
Oh, well, yeah. A small business owner came to me and has a big proposal to do, and she isn't sure where to start. And whenever you're proposing something that's really big and can change the face of your business entirely, it can be a little bit intimidating on trying to do that successfully, because you want it really bad, but you don't want to make a mistake with it. So she came to talk to me actually on the phone, because she's in, I think, Florida. And we decided she downloaded our webinar about writing proposals, which was a big help for her. And she did ask me actually for a template, which I sent her, but I'm going to add one of those to the website so that people that need a template for proposals have a place to go for that. And then we did a webinar for our demo of our software, because one of the things that she's going to need for that client is software. It's such a big client that she needs a way to automate a lot of her data collection. So we did the demo, and she was so excited after seeing the software, after working through her questions about the proposal. And then I told her that when she writes it, I would help her wordsmith it. So I said, you draft it, I'll take a look at it, and I'll help you in places where you might need some help. So she's super excited about this and feels really confident now that she's going to be able to write something that not only looks professional, but will position her for the most opportunity for success to win this project. And that's a big thing for her.
Yeah, one of the things that you said, and you didn't pat yourself on the back like I'm going to here, is she said, you know what? Something like, I'll paraphrase this, she says, I didn't have to go it alone. Right. It was so nice that someone was there that knew what was going on, that could help me.
Right.
And I want you to think about that. When you're doing your business, I don't care what it is, whether it's inventory or it's hiring or firing, for goodness sakes, whatever it might be.
Right.
It's always nice to have another person there, another voice, even somebody you can pick up the phone with, or those help tutorial videos, which you have a ton of, is let me find out. instead of muddling through it for an hour or 2 hours or days. So
Well, excuse me for interrupting you, but there's no point in making mistakes that I always tell people, like, we have a whole ton of policies and procedures for my primary company, right? And so I tell my new employees that all the mistakes that the people before you have made are now addressed in these policies and procedures so they don't make them. So what I would prefer is that you make a mistake I haven't seen before so that I can figure out how to fix the process so it doesn't happen again. So there is no reason for anybody to have to struggle through the process, especially the beginning few years, to struggle through because they're not sure which direction to go. Get some help. If it's not me, get somebody that knows what they're talking about to help you. And be aware too, make sure you check credentials for are they currently doing this or have they done it before? Because you make a good point. If the person has been out of business for even as few as 5 years, technology and the basic business is the same, but technology changes all the time, and the opportunities and how to market to people and how to help people all change.
Yeah.
So you need to stay current with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Cool.
Right?
Cool. Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I remember just one little side note. I remember years ago when I was involved in real estate quite heavily, and this guy sold me his system and I bought it, and I started looking at it, and it was from 1973.
Oh my goodness.
And while some of the fundamentals, there's a house and there's a loan, the techniques you could use were so outdated, none of it worked. And so that was kind of my first, and I was fairly young at that time, a little younger than I am now, but it was one of those things where it made me realize, hey, if they say they're a guru, I want to know, are they still in the trenches with me? Or are they just on the sidelines, and how long have they been on the sidelines?
Well, and I have to tell you too that just because somebody writes a book or does a webinar or has a website does not mean that they know what you're doing. You want to make sure that somebody has built a business successfully, because it's one thing what is the phrase about he who can't teaches or something. In this case, you want somebody who's going to teach you who has done it, okay? That actually has experience. It doesn't matter what industry at all, right?
Right.
Business is business. So you want to understand how to build your business. Whatever product or service you're selling is irrelevant as far as the basics of how to run your business are concerned. And if you find a good person to help you, they can quickly adapt to whatever your different product is. It makes no difference. I used to do, just quickly, when I worked in aerospace and I was consulting for aerospace companies all around the country, I would walk into a new company and begin to start to talk to people, and they would always say, you don't understand my business, right? You don't understand. So I created at that time, a PowerPoint presentation. Does anybody even still do PowerPoint?
Sure, we do PowerPoint, yep.
I created a PowerPoint presentation called Common Complaints. And I would give this presentation the first time I walked into a new company, so they would understand that I understood the pain they were in, right? And I would tell them symptoms of a troubled business, or one of those is having meetings at noontime. If you're having meetings at noontime, you need to stop doing that, okay?
Yeah.
That is always an indicator to me that a company is in trouble, right? So I would tell them specific things. So you want to find somebody who understands the business currently, what's going on, and that they have done it themselves so they can help you properly.
Yeah. My point being is, get a hold of Leslie, because she does business consulting. She does some coaching, and we'll make sure to talk about how to get a hold of her at the end of the program. But today, now we want to get into our topic, which is analysis paralysis.
That's right.
Okay, so take it away.
Well, analysis paralysis is basically being frozen and unable to make a decision. That's basically it. You get so caught up in pros and cons of any decision that you need to make, where you should spend your money, how should you advertise, where's the best place to go market. There's so many opportunities when you're a small business owner, and believe me, the minute you file your fictitious business name, you start to get inundated with calls and emails and letters and all kinds of things. Everybody wants to help you be successful, and most of them have no intent to help you be successful. They only want to take away all your money. So you have to be very careful with picking and choosing what opportunities are in front of you. But you can also get so caught up in the pros and cons of those decisions that you end up making no decision.
Yeah.
And no decision is a decision, but it isn't one that's going to help you with your business, right?
Right.
So I usually use the metaphor about walking off a cliff. In business, I am always willing to walk off a cliff. If you can visualize a really high cliff with pretty blue water, I will walk off that cliff in a heartbeat. And if it's the wrong cliff, if the decision was the wrong one for my business, then I just go find another cliff to walk off of. You can't worry about a wrong decision, because any decision is better than no decision. Any decision.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how you learn, right? That's
Absolutely.
how you learn in your business, what works for you, what doesn't. Take, for example, brochures. Just a simple, you have to have a brochure for your business, right? The first one I made 11 years ago cost $2,000 at the time, which was
Wow.
a ton of money,
Wow.
a ton. And it was completely and totally ineffective. Completely.
Ouch.
It was a total waste of money. Okay, it was beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it was ineffective because I didn't know how best to promote my business. Right? The business was brand new. The industry was brand new. It was barely even heard of. We had to spend, I told you before, we had to spend 3 years educating people on what we were and why you needed it, right? So the first brochure, while beautiful, did not communicate effectively what we needed to communicate.
So your customer didn't even really know they had a problem, even though you had the solution. So you had to educate them on what their problem was before they would realize, oh, I have a problem, and you're the solution.
Right. So I made that first brochure, right? But I didn't know how to promote myself. So then we ended up making a couple of years later, we made another one. It was a pretty good brochure, but still, it wasn't perfect. And then, and I agonized over, I already spent $2,000. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Don't be afraid to do it. Just chalk it up to, okay, that didn't work, and move on to the next thing. Don't get so hung up in your head that you can't do things for your company. It's really important. Eventually, by the way, just to close the brochure thing, we did get a brochure, the third one, that is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Everybody loves it. It communicates properly what we do, and I don't think I'll ever change it. I can't imagine. At this point, I can't imagine ever changing it, but
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does look it's very, very high class, and its impression is, wow, this company is doing good business.
Right.
I'm going to take you back to another story that you shared a long time ago, and it's probably in one of your educational videos that you offer about when you started your business, and you almost got in that analysis paralysis to the point where you almost did not start your business.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing that? Because that was a long story, and then one day when you decided, okay, to the launch day, something interesting happened. I won't blow the...
Right. So, I worked in aerospace for a long time. I was a consultant in aerospace for 10 years, helping companies be more efficient and productive. And I kept feeling compelled to start a business. So one day, this concept, the executive errands concept, struck my mind, and as soon as I thought of the name, I knew I could see it successful. And that's part of the key. You not only have to see it, but you have to feel it and you have to believe it, right? So the day before I decided to start really seriously working on this, I got the website laid out, and I was working on stuff. And the day before I was going to sort of announce that we were doing this, an article came out in the newspaper, like a full-page article in the lifestyle section of another company that was doing what we were doing, or what we were thinking of doing, and talking about how successful they were. And I almost threw in the towel right then. But how many hamburger joints are there? How many hairdressers are there? How many companies are there that clean pools? I mean, there's a ton of competition. Competition is healthy. And there's enough business to go around for everybody. So we could do a whole segment on just the benefits of having competition. I mean, there are a huge amount of benefits to that. Yeah. So then I went ahead and decided to go forward after I got over the initial pit in my stomach moment, and built my website and did my brochures and did everything. And it was about 6 months down the road, and I realized I didn't have any clients. I mean, most people go out and start doing work or selling a product and then build a company. I actually built a company and had no clients. Talk about either brave or stupid. I'm not sure. Talk about walking off a cliff.
No
I
kidding.
don't know. I mean, I invested a lot of money, and I started the software development at the same time. So yeah, it was a lot.
So you
to
had the
do.
pressure. You had the pressure behind it. You know, the carrot or the stick.
Yeah.
The stick was beating on you. Like, okay, now we have to make something happen.
Right. And you know what? Part of that is also analysis paralysis in a way, because it's so much fun to do all the creative piece of building a company, the look of your business cards, which by the way I did twice, actually 3 times also. The business cards and the website and writing the content and all of that stuff is so much fun to do that you can find yourself hibernating in your office and not wanting to go out and actually work to get business.
Would you recommend, like nowadays there are things like, virtual assistants, and there's people that we can get online to do a lot of stuff. I mean, would you, if you had to roll it back now 11 years, and let's say those services that are available today were available then, would you outsource a lot of this work? So
not in the beginning.
I mean, just like let's say, for instance, if you write, let's say you make the business card, you do the layout and stuff. I mean, would you hire somebody then to take it from that point and take it to production? Yeah, because I mean, you literally did all the work.
I did, and I hired a graphics designer for some of the work, but I'm the one that had the creative decision making. And again, this is all the fun stuff, and we all love it. So we can get hung up in just doing that. Today, eventually, I write all the content for my newsletters, but I outsource the layout and the picture selection and all that sort of thing, because we're going to have this conversation too about how many hats you can wear, right? But there comes a time where you have to start delegating some of it, because your company will get big and you won't be able to. There's only one of you, okay? You need to remember that there's only one of you. So the point I really wanted to make here is not to get so stuck in the decision-making process that you don't make a decision. Yeah. Because a lot of people are afraid of being wrong. Okay, that's a big fear for people, especially small business owners who are first time out
and have their life savings in it.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah, and so it's a big risk. And a lot of people start out and they're hungry and they need the money. And if you I'm going to go into some philosophical here for just a second. Forgive me, but if you focus on the lack of money, no money is going to come in. Right.
Right.
You know that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you have to focus on seeing the money coming and staying. It's helpful to focus that it stays.
Yes.
Otherwise it just comes in and goes out.
That's right.
Right? I've had that happen too. But if you focus on it coming in, it will come in. But if you focus on the lack of having it, it will never come. And so you don't be afraid. This is the whole point. Do not be afraid to make a decision. If it's wrong, just hike up your shorts and move on to the next one, right? And make another decision, because some of whatever decision you make will not be wrong. And if nothing else, you'll learn from it, and then you can make a better decision the next time.
How does somebody, before we let you go, how does someone know, Leslie, that they're in this state of analysis paralysis? How could they almost self-diagnose? Like as an example, I'm in a boat, it's sinking, the water on my feet is a clue. How do we know in this situation that, hey, self-diagnosis is, I'm in analysis paralysis, I need to take some action? Well,
mostly it's because your to-do list will be really long and you haven't solved any of it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You do have to prioritize your to-do list, and everything on your to-do list should be aimed at furthering whatever the goal is of your business besides making money. Either it's helping further you along educationally, technologically, networking wise, everything on that to-do list needs to not be just busy work. It needs to be, that's one really indicator of analysis paralysis, is that you're stuck in busy work.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? That would be the clearest way to say that.
Okay.
But if your to-do list is long and it's not getting done and you're not accomplishing at least 4 or 5 things a day, you're stuck.
Okay.
Okay. So you need to complete things. You need to cross them off. You need to focus on the hardest things first. What is that? There's a book called
Eat the Frog
First or something like that. Yeah, it's a good one. Do at least one hard thing every day first, and then you can do the easy fun stuff.
Yeah.
But make those decisions, because your business is not going to grow if you don't.
That's true.
Right?
Cool. Well, thank you, Leslie. I think that was good information. So analysis paralysis, what does it mean? How do you identify it, and how do you get out of it? I think that's real important.
And I think we covered this in one of the webinars. I can't tell you which one, but we do talk about this in one of the other webinars.
Yeah, in fact, you have a gift for those people watching. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
Well, we're giving away today, if you click somewhere on this page, we're giving away top 10 tips for my top 10 tips for marketing networking for the small business owner. And you should take advantage of that. It's a good solid webinar. It's about an hour long. And if you have any questions once you've watched it, be sure to get a hold of me. And if you're looking for somebody to help you, or you just have there's a decision you need to make and you're just stuck on it, then get a hold of me and we'll figure out how to do it for you.
Yeah, just one little thing on this with your consultation part of it. I mean, how would somebody get a hold of you? Is there a direct phone number, an email? What is that?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me about anyway, but my phone number is 760-898-9604. Or you can go to the website on the Contact Us page at conciergebusinesssolutions.com. That's 3 S's in the middle and 1 at the end.
Yep.
So you want to make sure you get all those S's in there. conciergebusinesssolutions.com. Click the Contact Us page and just send us an email. Or if you want to look at some of our webinars, if you click on the education page, there's all the webinars are there available for download, so it's super easy. Also documents that will help your business, and we have the 6 DVD collection about how to start your own business. It's a foundation for a new business owner. I really recommend that you invest in that. That will be the best. Was it $3.99? I think it's something like that. Yeah. It's the best money you'll ever invest in your business. And I'm sorry for the hard sell. I don't like to do hard sell, but I want you to know that this thing was done. It's 6 DVDs. Yep. 6 basic subjects about all the fundamentals for how to start a business. And if you really are brand new at this, it's a perfect way to find out how to get going.
I think it's something that, if your spouse, if you're married and your spouse is considering opening a business, this would be a great gift for them.
It really would.
And or I think it'd be a great gift, quite frankly. I think it'd be a great gift for somebody going from high school to college, or someone in college, because it talks about things, Leslie, that is really not shared at the college level or even high school level.
No, and it's my heart is in there, right? I really want to see as many small business owners as possible be successful. I mean, that's kind of my mission in life. I absolutely love helping other people make their business better. So my heart and soul is in the DVD collection, and it's really, my heart's worth a lot more than $3.99. So, consider it really, because I think that you'll find there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that, like, just a tiny tidbit, something as simple and as inane as a post office box. Right? Remember we were talking about that I got a small regular P.O. box, and that was the biggest mistake. It just needs to be a full size. Get the biggest one they have, because as a small business owner, you get a ton of mail. So, even something as little as that, you really want to do that.
Well, cool. So now next week we're going to talk about what? The many hats of an entrepreneur?
I think so. I think that's what we should talk about. All the hats you wear, and when do you start delegating responsibility? It's hard to let go after years of wearing all the hats and then letting go. Yeah. We should talk about that.
Cool. Yeah, we're kind of going through that little space in our business after 5 years of, like, we know we need to let some things go, because if we're going to grow, we can't always be the people digging the hole. We have to get some other people to help us. So anyway, Leslie, thank you so much. I think that was great information, analysis paralysis, and I loved was it a metaphor or an analogy?
Oh my gosh, I had to ask for a definition of this because I get analogies and metaphors mixed up all the time. But according to Amy, a metaphor is inherently not true, which means I don't literally walk off a cliff. Where an analogy is true, so it's sort of like a simile. It's this is like this, so that would be a true statement. So I got to remember that. That was a good definition for me.
I like that. Metaphor, not necessarily
not true. Have never literally walked off a cliff. Cool. I did fall down the stairs.
Did do the stair
I
thing.
did do the stair thing.
Probably wouldn't volunteer for that again, right?
No.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Harrison.
I'm Leslie Spoor.
For X's and O's, and we'll see you next week when we talk about the many hats of an entrepreneur. It's a nice